if you have any doubts of how dangerous a divorce is, and by extension, how dangerous a marriage with the wrong person is, probably you should watch this TV show. A TV show that talks about a divorce that ends up very badly. More precisely, a divorce that never happened ended up very badly. I won't reveal the title of the show because I don't want to spoil the story for those who haven't watched it. Probably those who watched it will recognize the plot. I'll probably tell the title of the show if I remember at the end of the video, so stay tuned if you want to know. So the story is about, it's a subplot of the show, about this woman who was a restaurant owner, a chef, that built this created this business and this restaurant with her recipe, her hard work, and make it very successful. It was a restaurant that was profitable, received a lot of good reviews, and was loved by the neighborhood, by the city. So everybody liked this restaurant, and she was very successful in that. At a given point, because there was a love story with this woman, the romantic interest want to ask, okay, were you married? How? So she was married, but she said, I don't want to talk about my marriage. I was not very good to be deal with. We broke up, but I don't want to talk about it because it makes me sad. It's hard to talk about these stories, the breakup stories, the divorce, and so on. It's understandable. It looked a little bit over the top, but it was. At a given point, this man was needed for something that this lady, this chef, had to work with. So they needed to find him, and she refused to, reveal where this man was. She said, no, she moved to Mexico. I have no idea where it is. If I knew, I wouldn't tell you. I wouldn't want to deal with him. It's very hard, and so it's gonna be a mistake if we meet again. So, but at the end, this man show up. A man show up. It was revealed that he was the mediocre man that she was portraying. She was painting the character of. So, in what sense? That she was a very busy businesswoman, and she admitted that was hard to be. She herself was hard to be dealt with, and there was some disagreement on how to work with the business, and they broke up basically. So that was the story. Anyway, so the man was because the man was not understanding, was not cooperating with the business, so she had to do everything alone. They had this agreement that he didn't like the way the relationship was. They broke up. Okay. So this man was not useful because he was a mediocre man who was not relevant for the business and for the story, and we didn't hear about him for some more episode until the last episode of the story of the season. It was revealed that the man that we saw, that was portrayed as her husband, was not the husband, was somebody else. The husband was actually, spoiler alert, killed by the chef, by the restaurant owner, the businesswoman who was so successful but was also so stressed. But was killed. Why? Because they did have argument. They didn't get along anymore for whatever reason, because she was busy, she didn't spend time with him, or they didn't, or I don't know, we don't know exactly, but at a given point, they were talking about divorce, dangerous divorce. They were talking about divorce, and for the community property laws that are enforced in California and many other states, if they divorce, he would take half of the property, half of the restaurant, half of the business, and that would have destroyed the business, because if he don't cooperate as it was understood and it was not dispute, he would have cooperated. He would take all the money. Without this financial support, the restaurant didn't have the financial fuel to go ahead and to go on. And so she felt that she needed to get rid of this man and take him out and make it disappear, to avoid that, and what can happen. So this is to say that, I blame the laws in this case, and the laws is the common property and the way that we intend, and the most states intend the spousal support and the distribution of the wealth when do people split. When the people split, and very well, we need that everybody takes something, because we build a house together, we work together, we have money together, we need to split. And plus, on top of this, there are child support. So somebody need to give to somebody else. Either they work equally to raise the kids, or somebody needs to give somebody else, the other one, some support to raise the children. Now, and this is fine. Now, when there is a big, not a really a big, in many cases a big disparity, because if we have two corporate managers, or two businessmen that are basically equal, you split. I mean, you don't need to level up anything. But if you have a big disparity over a very big income, what's the concept here? That say that, let me do the example on me, and let me puff my head a little bit. Say that I'm a big businessman, or I'm a very successful corporate manager, and make 4, 5, 600K, and my wife is a stay-home mom, doesn't make anything as a salary or as a stuff, but she stays at home, she takes care of the mansion, the house, she takes care of the kid. So the concept is that was established in the 1670s and later on, that if the wife stays home, it's like she's taking the burden, the children burden, the burden of the kids, or raising the kids, the worry of the house, away from you. So you can focus on your career, on traveling, on meeting men, on working late hours, and so on. And probably you're all criticized because you're so absent from the life of your kid and your wife. But anyway, so you do this. So it means that your success, my success in the career. So the reason why I make 600,000, this is an example, don't send the IRS to my house, is because my wife's support. She supports me, she supports the children, she supports the house, and then she needs to get, if we broke up, I need to compensate her because she was busy not having a career, and sacrificing her career. I need to compensate her for this sacrifice, basically. How I need to sacrifice half of my income for so many years. Could be forever, could be for 10 years, for 5 years, depends on the length of the marriage and the laws of the particular state. And if I have a business, also I need to share the business with her. And this is really the law. In many states is like that. It's complicated. So it's not, so it should be handled better. If the business is incorporated well, probably you have some protection, because you can give the stakes or the shares to the other spouse, but then you keep the ownership or the administration, the decision power, if you demonstrate that. So that should be created in a way that you keep the business afloat, and then you just give the part of the money. So they don't destroy, by splitting this business, you're not destroying actually the health of the business. Anyway, so I'm digressing here. The laws are like that. So in this show, it happened that the wife had no choice. I die financially, or I kill him. So somebody need to get away, because if you're not cooperating, it's like you to. And now this is an extreme example of a situation. And we know that marriages are dangerous for many reasons. Marriages and divorce. 99% of marriages are just fine, from the point of view of safety. But we know that statistics say that in most Western countries, 80% of women are killed. Women that die, violently, by the hand of somebody that knows her, and 80% of the time. And of this 80%, this somebody that knows her is a romantic, had the romantic involvement. Could be a husband many times, could be a boyfriend, or an ex-boyfriend that was mad by. So like 70% of times when woman get killed is for this reason. For men is different. Men don't get killed. Men get killed more so than women. More quantity. More men get killed than women in absolute terms. And the percentage of men that are killed by their wives are very negligible. So the danger is more of dying is more for the wives than for the men. But on the other hand, men tend to suffer, bankruptcy or become broke, become homeless after a divorce, more so than women. Women are more protected from can suffer depression, and sometimes we don't know even the statistic because some of this depression from marriage or from divorce are not reported. They can take their own, I don't want to mention here let's keep this video. YouTube is social media friendly, and so men suffer more in bigger percentage, and sometimes you cannot relate the taking their own whatever with marriage, but we know that if there is some big depression, sometimes it's make it worse by a spouse that does understand you and is not well treated clinically or as far as mental. So this is the situation. The law is very complicated. No, it's not very simple, but could create something, and could be for many men complain that their wives take everyone. There is also this meme that is running around that what is the difference between a wife and a grenade? No difference, because once you take the ring out, half of your house is gone. So this is somehow true, but we forget that also it can be true for women, for successful women. When the woman is the breadwinner, when the woman is the manager, is the person that has the money flow coming in, then it's bad for women too. So it's not now the problem, as we told at the beginning, that the wife make the sacrifice by staying home to take care of the children, sacrifice their career. There is a woman that, let me pass the concept, married a nice guy, but he was too nice to, handle the stress of a businesswoman, and so they broke up. And what do you do in this case? So the man does deserve all this money. I think that there should be a cap, and let's use probably sometimes this TV show that I don't know if they really were thinking, but I think about this legal implication. But I think that probably we should use this show to really change the law, to force the law, because I agree 100%. If we have a wife that stays home after a divorce, there should be some compensation for the fact that she didn't have a career. But many women choose not to career. They don't have the education to have the same career the husband. So if they make about the same minimum wage or about, then the difference that you need to give her, it could be $300 a month, $500 a month. But when there is a big disparity, and probably it's due to big disparity of education. So if the husband, or in this case the chef, has a big business talent and make like 10 times the husband or the wife that stays home or that earn less, probably there should be a cap, because say, okay, you stayed home, the salary that you would have get by staying home would be a little bit above the minimum wage, if not the minimum wage. Now, do you have education to demonstrate that you would? Probably this is not even in your favor, because if you have a similar education but you sacrificed, it's actually the opposite, because if you really sacrifice, you make less, because the judge will say, no, you can go back to work and you need some time to catch up, but then you will make the same amount of money because you have similar education. So it backfires. You know what I mean? It's I don't want to digress very much right now because we can discuss, probably we have discussed this already, we'll discuss this again, to many people that are afraid of divorcing. And let me know in the comment, by the way, if you are in this situation that you are a successful woman or successful man too, and you want to divorce, but you're afraid of divorcing because you're gonna give everything to your wife. Let's connect. Put in the comments below, type success, and I'll know that I'll try to contact you and let's talk together in the support groups or privately, and we'll discuss what we can do to help you and to solve this situation, because probably this is a situation that will become more and more. So let's go back to the alimony concept. So if the husband makes 100K, just another example, don't quote me, and the wife has a basic education and stay home. When you break up and divorce, the judge will say, okay, this woman at this point need to work. She didn't work, but now need to work. How much she can make? Minimum wage. You make 100K. She makes minimum wage 25K. In New Jersey, some other state could be less. So the difference 75K. You split. So 75K, 37K a year. You give to before tax, after tax. I mean, let's say that is before tax, after tax. 37K you give to her for this many number of years, because you need to, the difference should go to her to keep her standard of living in future. Now, and so what the hell she sacrificed? And again, it works the other way around if the breadwinner is a chef owner that is not responsible, that is really the reason why the restaurant was very successful. Now, what this low education wife that stayed home and helped you with the career, blah, 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 have sacrificed by not going to work? She makes 33K a year for so many years because she didn't. Now, say that you are both law school graduates. You become a lawyer, and she say, no, I want 5 children. I mean, you together say, we want 5 children. And the wife say, I stay home and take care of the children. But I'm an attorney too. I'm an esquire, just I'm passed the bar exam. And I won't go to work. Okay, because to stay home. So she sacrificed a career. But the judge will say, no, he makes 100K. And you stop your career, you probably could make 80K a year being an attorney. So you get only $10,000, which is the half of the difference of $20,000. So the person that sacrificed a real career gets less money of the person that was, basic education, high school education, and didn't have any history of career. So you know that the concept is also fair, but the way it was implemented, it's bad. It was bad for many, many years, and I don't understand why this is not solved. Some commentator, they call the red pill commentator, say the reason is because women make them 80% they have the spending decision power of the family. So because men, what do they pay? The house, let's say half for half, but usually you buy a house that make the wife happy. The men are, in most cases, are the one that say, okay, let's choose something that both likes, but the wife make the final decision, also decoration in general. Women spend more money in cosmetics, on dresses, on other stuff, and on grocery, they decide what to buy for grocery most of the time, especially if they stay home because they're raw. And they have the most voting power than men, because men, they go ideologically, and women go what women want, so they go on family. I mean, this is something that says so. Politicians try to don't piss off women with this stuff, because otherwise abortion, it doesn't work, and body choice doesn't work, and divorce doesn't work. So this because women are more likely to go to the poll than men, because men maybe are in travel, or they don't care, or they're just they are more likely to go to the poll. Politicians don't try to fix this stuff about divorce. All right, so I hope that this scared you about a little bit when you go to divorce. This is not to say that don't divorce. Don't say divorce too. But if you need to divorce, don't go straight on. I want to divorce and I'll ruin you. Don't go to this route, because one is you're gonna scare your special one. It's not very Christian things to do, to scare and blackmail people. And two, you may have not realized that you married the wrong person and you get killed from that. And on the other hand, also, if you're scared that you need to divorce, you cannot stand this person, don't get into the situation, okay, it's cheaper to keep her, or him. But it's not, because you're gonna lose your sanity. You're gonna lose stuff that is more important than money. So don't get it. But don't jump into conclusion. Just jump into the pool, jump on the cliff, and do it yourself. Don't rely on lawyers. This is not legal advice, but I say lawyers are important in some specific situation. But normally, divorce is just paperwork, so you don't need lawyers. But even though, try to find somebody like me. This is my role here, to give you direction. Sometimes it's just a free call. Sometimes it's a business relation that we take you to a situation where your divorce doesn't go in a litigation that bankrupt you anyway. So you're trying to do in a litigation to avoid to lose your money, and you lose all your money by paying the legal fees and the court and everything, and you never get. So let's get a good strategy. Lawyers are important for the laws, for some of the laws, but this is important if the situation is complicated. If you have complicated, meaning not complicated personal relation, complicated situation because you have many business and trusts and this and that, assets and so many house and relatives and son and other family. So when this situation, probably that point, a good lawyer advice will be. But if you have a house, salary, and some savings, then you know what to do. Just split together, and few cars. Just split everything in half, and everybody takes their fair share. You don't need really not even to negotiate. So don't get in a litigation. It's very easy. Don't need to pay a lawyer for this stuff. You just pay a good data form preparator, and you're done with that. But to avoid that, even that gets in a litigation that you don't know how to handle, let's strategize first. Don't jump into pool. Don't blackmail anybody. Don't give ultimatum to anybody. Don't leave the house unless it's required by the state as a prerequisite for divorce. And even that, let's discuss that's how we leave the house. Not just, okay, I walk out, so let's start the timer of separation, legal separation. Let's discuss everything before from the strategy perspective, not from the legal perspective. I wish you all the best, and I hope that you will enjoy the second season of The Lincoln Lawyer. And you think about it. You meditate the message that this show is giving us.